Hi, I'm Dr. Thomas Armstrong, and I'm making a series of short videos to introduce my new book, The Power of Neurodiversity, Unleashing the Advantages of Your Neurodivergent Brain. This is a completely revised and updated second edition of a book that I originally wrote in 2010. The topic of today's video is positive role models with mood disorders. So I'm just going to give you a few from the past and a few from the present, just to give you a sense of people that we all know about who've struggled with depression. Maybe you didn't know that Abraham Lincoln suffered from unipolar depression for most of his life. He used sad songs and poems as vehicles for lamenting his grief. He was often heard reciting these refrains and verses for hours at a time around the White House. I thought as I presented these role models that I would give you a little bit of something that that person did to help them deal with the depression. Back in the day, they didn't have antidepressants, just as they didn't have antiseptics or antibiotics for physical infections. And so they had to kind of um, pull themselves up by their own bootstraps and come up with their own solutions. So for Abraham Lincoln, it was his sad songs and poems that he used to bring him out, or at least to channel his feelings of sadness and depression. Winston Churchill is another one that comes to mind. One of the most important figures of the 20th century, Winston Churchill was a British statesman, military officer, and writer. He was Prime Minister of the United Kingdom from 1940 to 1945, during which he was perhaps one of the one or two people most responsible for saving us from the Nazis. And then he again became Prime Minister from 1951 to 1955. He won the Nobel Prize not for peace, as you'd think, but the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1953. He called his depressions his black dog. And to relieve his depression, he painted with watercolors and he built brick walls. Here he is building a cottage for his daughters at his Chartwell estate in Kent in 1928. He was quite an accomplished bricklayer. John Stuart Mill is next on the list. He was an English philosopher, political economist, politician, and civil servant. He was one of the most influential thinkers in the history of liberalism and social liberalism. His father wanted to do a little experiment with him and see how early and how much he could teach him. So he started off teaching him Greek at the age of 3. At the age of 20, he went through months of sadness and contemplated committing suicide. But it was, he said later, his reading of poems by William Wordsworth, the English romantic poet, that he said helped pull him out of it. Playwright Tennessee Williams, who wrote A Streetcar Named Desire and Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, each of which won a Pulitzer Prize, had recurring depressions all through his life, and his solution was to swim every day to help relieve the symptoms. Now, moving to the present day, we find that many entertainers in the industry have dealt with depression, including Angelina Jolie. She's been open about her past struggles with depression, particularly during her teenage years and after her mother's death. She's spoken about periods of intense unhappiness, self-harm, and even suicidal thoughts. She credits humanitarian work with helping her overcome depression. She's been noted for her advocacy on behalf of refugees as a special envoy for the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. She's undertaken field missions to refugee camps and war zones worldwide. Next is actress and singer Lady Gaga. She has said that it was her album Chromatica that helped bring her out of her depressed state. To quote her, "I spent a lot of time in a sort of catatonic state of just not wanting to do anything. And then I finally slowly started to make music and tell my story through my record." Selena Gomez. She says that it's time with her younger sister, Gracie Elliott, that helps her escape the blues. To quote her, "She reminds me of a perspective in life that can be a bit simpler and pure. Even just having a moment with her makes me feel better." And then finally, the actor and comedian Jim Carrey. He struggled with depression over the years, as well as ADHD. And he says that a key for him in dealing with depression was something a friend told him, that we should take the word depress and change it into deep rest for a solution to the problem. He says the body needs to take a deep rest from the superficial persona it has been developing over the years. In Carrey's case, this could well include the many frenzied characters he has played in his many hit movies. So that's just a taste of what's in my book, The Power of Neurodiversity. I hope you get the book and share it with your friends and your teachers and therapists and coworkers. In the book, I've created a 200-item neurodiversity strengths checklist. And the reason I did this was because as a former special education teacher, I found that so many special education students just took test after test telling them what they were not good at. And I thought that, if you're struggling with something, you need to be surrounded by people who see the best in you, and you need to see the best in yourself as well. So this is something that I've created, and it's available to you also if you go to my website. You can go to my website, which is www.institute4learning.com. That's institute4learning.com. And go to my homepage or my blog page, and you can sign up for my blog posts. If you put your email address in, you will automatically receive my 200-item neurodiversity strengths checklist. Also, if you're interested in these videos, I'm making a whole series of videos around this book. And right now, I think this is about the 40th video that I've done. So if you want to see the other videos, go to YouTube. My address is at Dr. Thomas Armstrong and /playlist, and then choose the Power of Neurodiversity playlist. And you'll have 39 or very possibly more, because I'm going to keep doing these until I come to the end of my list. So that's a resource for you as well. Thanks so much for watching and for listening. I hope that the information was useful to you, and I wish you all the best in your celebrating the neurodivergency in all of us. Thanks so much.